asking ourselves about how do we see this really as a flare, a red flag, telling us, look, this is a crisis. But because it has become an economy that has more entry-level jobs, you have more entry-level job opportunities to be a gangster rapper than you do to be in any other industrial industry in an urban center in America.
That's so true.
So how can you tell young people not to be a thug or to aspire to a culture of thuggery when they have more opportunities to go to jail and tell more stories about that experience than they do to have upward mobility and reasonable opportunity?
Wow.
Now, the problem is that we've been so affirmative of that crisis that we haven't been, to my mind, transformational enough. So let me just take a brief moment here. I think really the way out on the cultural realm is to recognize that these are market products, and they are products that tell stories about who we are, not just who we are, but who we should be. Mm-hmm. Reflection produces representation, which reproduces who we are. It becomes a mirror. If we want that to change, we can't just accept where we are. We can't just represent. And there's a beauty in representing, right? Because you've been denied. You haven't been given any space. Let me just represent. But if you just represent where you are, and where you are is the product both of enormous human sacrifice and opportunity that black people create for themselves, but also enormous crisis, then where are you going? And hip-hop has to ask itself to represent what it wants, not represent where it is. And to figure out what you want, you have to look at yourself outside of what the market economy has created for you. You have to realize you're in a market economy, but you don't want that market economy to live inside of you. Because you're, of course, the original market economy, right? You're the original commodity in the United States. I suppose instead of being an OG, you're the OC. Now, I would say this. We need to affirm each other and not let go of real and imagined gangsters, of real and imagined young women who find themselves having to imagine that their success is only a sexual public success, and that they are only as valued as young men think they are. We have to hold on, but we also have to have some pushing and some standards. So we have to affirm and we have to be transformational. We have to love with affirmation and we have to love with transformation. And that's to say, look, sometimes you have to tell somebody they need to do a little better. And I want to say, look, but you say that in the spirit of understanding the deep conditions under which that group of people live. Not to say you should just do better because you're just like everybody else, but to recognize where you are located, and say, you know what, I know you're under duress, but it's not going to get better by telling me all about your AK-47s. Right? Tell me, if you're going to tell me that story in the spirit of how you want to get somewhere else. Right? Restoring the community in its network-rich history to create the structural opportunities, because this is going to be about structure and consciousness. And the only way you change structure is by action, but the only way you have action is by a change in consciousness. And hip-hop is a brilliant place for conscious creation. And I don't just mean political consciousness, I mean cultural consciousness. How do we treat each other? How do we love each other? We did not get here without loving each other profoundly. Yeah. But if we don't stop being crippled, we're going to keep loving each other in a crippled way. And while we will profit from it in the short run, we will not profit from in the long run. So transform love in the spirit of what we have been and what we can be. And this thug life will not only end materially, but intellectually and consciously and emotionally as well. Thank you very much.
Tricia, roll! Tricia, roll! Tricia, roll! Dr. Rose! Tricia, roll!
Thank you.
Yeah! Tricia, roll! What? Yeah. Yeah, that's serious right there. Yeah. Hey.